Grace and love, everybody. In the last clip, I left you guys off with you could be shedding off old parts of you. Now, there's a multitude of things that you could be shedding off of you. There's a multitude of things that you even recognize or not even unaware of that you want to shed off of you. Now, just to piggyback off of the last clip that I left, I said that instead of saying of a whole new you type of thing, there's parts of you that you no longer want, that you no longer want, or that you're no longer even in alignment, or even no longer who you are, or that you realize that needs a reconstruction. Now, when I talk about the word when I talk about recognizing, now when you recognize something, you recognize that this is something that that I'm facing. This is something that that I recognize internally inside of me. This is where you have developed that factor of understanding. And when you understand something, this is where you're understanding something on the inside, to where it has to develop and it has to manifest out into the physical. Because when you understand something on the inside, when you understand it on the inside, even on the outside, it's going to show, which it will project on the outside of you. So let's say if you're understanding on why things happen, if you're new to the channel, the childhood is called the root over here. We talk about the root. So if you recognize something at your childhood that has happened to you at a childhood, and in your adult age you're recognizing. Now, this is a prime example to where you actually recognize something that is actually that is a pattern that wants to keep fulfilling in your life. Now, if you were abused as a child, you are going to have, this is now when I say you're going to have, you may have even had something that came into your adulthood, whether it was a relationship, and many times this is where a relationship comes in. So you could have had an abusive parent, or you could have had an abusive grandparent, whoever guardian was over you, you was abused as a child. Whenever you get older, and let's say if you get in a relationship with somebody and your partner turns and starts to be domestic, physical with you, DV is now in the relationship. Domestic violence is now in the relationship. See, that's a trap. That's something that wants to keep that is something that is something, number one, that the enemy doesn't even want you to recognize. Let's throw that out there. There's number one that the enemy doesn't want you to recognize. He doesn't want you to look at it like, hey, hold on, my mama, my daddy used to beat on me. My papa, my grandma, my uncle, they used to beat on me when I was a child, and here I am in a abusive relationship, and this is what's going on. You got to look at the pattern of stuff and how the enemy tries to bring back up stuff that even happened in your childhood and your adulthood. And this is where the enemy doesn't want you to recognize. But here is why I'm here, and I'm letting you know that you have to recognize what it is of what's happened. Here's another example of things that you have to recognize. Things that happen, where the generational. Now, this is a generational thing. You got to understand something. Whatever our parents didn't break, we have to break them. And then whatever you don't break and you have kids, they got to break them. And if your kids don't break them, your kids got to break it. That's why it's called a generational curse. Which generation is going to break the curse? You feel what I'm saying?